The Great Hall of the Galactic Confederation hummed with tension as Supreme Arbiter Nixus called the emergency session to order. The crystalline chamber, designed to house representatives from over 300 species, had never felt so crowded or so afraid. "The reports are confirmed," Nixus announced, her translucent wings catching the light of the chamber's bioluminescent ceiling. After 3 centuries of silence, the Sol system has reactivated its quantum beacons. Humanity has chosen to return. A wave of murmurs swept through the assembled delegates. Some shifted nervously in their environmental pods, while others activated their neural interfaces to access historical archives about Earth. "Surely this poses no threat," declared Ambassador Vrel of the Mercantile Worlds, his scaled face displaying the characteristic smugness of his species. Humans were barely achieving fusion power when they sealed their borders. 3 centuries of isolation cannot have. The chamber's holographic display suddenly flickered to life, interrupting Vrel mid-sentence. A transmission was forcing its way through the Confederation's most sophisticated security protocols, as if they were little more than primitive radio waves. The image that materialized showed a human woman, her dark skin contrasting with a midnight blue uniform, adorned with silver insignias that no one recognized. Her presence commanded attention without effort. "I am Admiral Sarah Chen of the Terran Defense Force," she stated, her voice carrying an authority that silenced the chamber. "For 300 years, humanity has watched, learned, and prepared. Today, we end our silence." Nixus rose from her crystalline throne, all 4 of her arms raised in a gesture of diplomatic greeting. "Admiral Chen, the Confederation welcomes Earth's return to galactic society. We are curious about your extended period of isolation." "You misunderstand, Arbiter," Chen interrupted, her expression unchanged. "This is not a request for readmission. This is a notification of our presence. Earth remembers how the Confederation abandoned us during the Nexus crisis. We remember your ships watching from orbit as our cities burned." The chamber erupted in protests and denials, but Chen continued speaking, her voice cutting through the chaos. "In the centuries since, we have evolved, advanced, prepared. The Sol system is now a sovereign territory, protected by defenses beyond your comprehension. Any unauthorized entry will be considered an act of aggression." To emphasize her point, the holographic display split, showing a massive structure materializing from what appeared to be a fold in space itself. The station was clearly of human design, its angular architecture unlike anything in the Confederation's database. Energy readings from the structure exceeded anything their sensors could properly measure. "By the void," whispered technical advisor Zix, their cybernetic implants struggling to process the data. "That's impossible. The power requirements alone mold." "Humanity has changed," Chen declared. "We are not seeking war, but we are prepared for it. The Sol system is off-limits to all Confederation vessels. Any attempts to probe our defenses will be met with immediate response. This is not a negotiation." Before anyone could respond, the transmission ended, leaving the chamber in stunned silence. The display continued showing the human defense station, its mere presence a testament to technological advancement that shouldn't have been possible. Nixus slowly sank back into her throne, all 4 arms trembling slightly. "Contact the military council," she ordered. "I want everything we have on human historical records, psychological profiles, and technological capabilities. And get me the archivists. I need to know exactly what happened during the Nexus crisis." As the delegates dispersed in a flurry of worried conversations, Ambassador Vrel remained in his seat, his scales now a pale shade of their former brilliance. 3 centuries, he muttered. What else have they built in that time? In the darkness of space, beyond the Confederation's sensor range, Admiral Chen stood aboard the bridge of the TDF Prometheus, Earth's most advanced warship. The vessel represented the pinnacle of human achievement, a fusion of quantum engineering, dark matter manipulation, and technologies the Confederation couldn't begin to comprehend. "Message delivered," reported Captain Maya Rodriguez, her holographic interface dancing with data streams. Their reactions. Exactly as expected, Chen replied, watching as the Confederation's diplomatic vessels scrambled to maintain formation. Fear, denial, and finally, the beginning of understanding. And the defense platform demonstration showed them just enough to make them nervous. Chen's lips curved in a slight smile. The real surprises remain hidden. For now. As the Prometheus glided silently through space, its quantum drive leaving no trace of its passage, Chen reflected on the centuries of preparation that had led to this moment. Humanity had not spent its isolation in bitter remembrance. Instead, they had turned their pain into purpose, their anger into advancement. The Confederation had abandoned Earth in its darkest hour, assuming humans would either perish or remain perpetually primitive. Instead, humanity had emerged stronger, unified by their shared determination to never be vulnerable again. Now, as the first phase of their return unfolded, Chen knew the galaxy would soon understand just how much humanity had changed. The defense platform was impressive, yes, but it was merely the surface of Earth's true capabilities. Orders, Admiral, Rodriguez asked, her hands hovering over the quantum interface. Chen's eyes remained fixed on the distant stars, each one potentially housing civilizations that would soon have to accept a new reality. Maintain position. Let them process what they've seen. The Confederation built their power on the assumption of their own superiority. Let's see how they handle the realization that they're no longer at the top of the evolutionary ladder. As the bridge crew carried out their duties with practiced precision, Chen allowed herself a moment of satisfaction. The awakening had begun. Humanity's return to the galactic stage was not a request for acceptance, but a declaration of power. The galaxy would never be the same. The Confederation's military council gathered in their secure chamber beneath the capital world's surface. Holographic displays showed the latest intelligence on human activities, each new piece of data more disturbing than the last. Fleet Commander Daxon, a veteran of countless campaigns, studied the sensor readings with his 4 eyes narrowed in concentration. 3 more defense platforms have emerged near the Sol system's outer boundary, each one larger than the first. And the power signatures? Asked Strategic Director Kira, her crystalline form pulsing with nervous energy. Off the charts. Our best estimates suggest each platform could disable an entire battle fleet without straining their systems. Daxon's tendrils curled in frustration. But that's not what worries me most. He gestured, and the holographic display shifted to show a vast network of quantum distortions threading out from Earth. These energy patterns suggest they've built something much bigger. The platforms might just be the outer shell of a much more extensive defense system. In the shadows of the chamber, Ambassador Vrel watched silently. The initial shock of humanity's return had given way to a deeper fear. Have we confirmed the historical records? About the Nexus crisis. Kira's crystalline surface dimmed slightly. Yes, 3 centuries ago, when the dimensional rifts began appearing near Earth, the Confederation Council of that era chose not to intervene. They believed humans were too primitive to be worth saving. A miscalculation we may all pay for, Daxon growled. Aboard the TDF Prometheus, Admiral Chen reviewed the latest reports from Earth's quantum sensor network. The Confederation's attempts at surveillance had been detected and tracked with embarrassing ease. Their most advanced stealth ships might as well have been broadcasting their presence across the galaxy. They're probing deeper into the outer defense grid, Captain Rodriguez reported. Should we activate the Aegis protocol? Chen considered for a moment. Not yet. Let them think they're being clever. It's time for Phase 2. She opened a secure channel to Earth Command. Initialize Project Prometheus. Deep within the Sol system, massive structures began to emerge from quantum space. Not mere defense platforms this time, but shipyards that dwarfed anything the Confederation had built. Each facility was a testament to human engineering, capable of producing vessels that combined technologies the galaxy had thought impossible to merge. The first ship to emerge was the Hyperion, a warship that seemed to absorb light itself. Its hull was composed of materials unknown to Confederation science, its weapons drawing power from the quantum fabric of space itself. Across the galaxy, smaller civilizations watched these developments with growing interest. The Nix Collective, long oppressed by Confederation trade restrictions, saw an opportunity. Their ambassador, Silara, requested a meeting with human representatives. "Your return changes everything," Silara told Admiral Chen during their secure quantum conference. "The Confederation's dominance has gone unchallenged for too long. Many of us would welcome alternatives." Chen's expression remained neutral, but her eyes showed understanding. The galaxy's balance of power is shifting. Those who recognize this early will find themselves in a more advantageous position. As if to emphasize her point, another massive ship emerged from Earth's quantum shipyards. The Confederation's surveillance ships scrambled to analyze it, their sensors struggling to comprehend what they were seeing. In the military council chamber, Daxon stared at the new data in disbelief. "That's impossible. They've somehow managed to stabilize quantum cores for ship propulsion. The energy output, it's beyond anything we thought possible." Kira's crystalline form flickered with alarm. "How many of these ships can they produce?" "Unknown. But these shipyards..." Daxon's voice trailed off as new data streamed in. "They're not just building ships. They're manufacturing something else. Something bigger." Throughout the sector, more civilizations began reaching out to Earth. Some sought protection, others offered alliance, and a few simply wanted to ensure they were on the right side of history. The Confederation's grip on power was slipping, and everyone could sense it. Admiral Chen watched these developments from the Prometheus's quantum-shielded bridge. Humanity's emergence from isolation had been carefully planned, each revelation precisely timed to create maximum impact. The defense platforms had been impressive, yes, but they were merely the beginning. "The Confederation is mobilizing their reserve fleets," Rodriguez reported. "They're trying to maintain the appearance of control, but their communications show increasing panic." Chen nodded. "As expected. They built their empire on the assumption of technological superiority. Now they're facing an advancement curve they can't match." She paused, studying the quantum display showing Earth's continuing military emergence. Have the Hyperion and its sister ships move into their assigned positions. It's time to show them what real power looks like. Across the Sol system, humanity's true strength continued to unfold. Each new revelation was carefully choreographed, designed to... The first direct confrontation occurred near the Antares Drift. A Confederation battle group, attempting to prevent the secession of a resource-rich system, encountered the human warship Hyperion. The battle lasted less than 3 minutes. The Confederation vessels, despite their impressive firepower and crews trained in centuries of warfare, found themselves helpless against human technology. The Hyperion's quantum shields absorbed their most powerful weapons without strain, while its own systems disabled the entire battle group without causing a single casualty. Footage of the encounter spread across the galaxy, further accelerating the collapse of Confederation authority. More systems began declaring their independence, seeking protection under Earth's growing sphere of influence. In a secure quantum conference, representatives from 24 former Confederation worlds met with Admiral Chen to formalize their new alliance. "We offer you more than protection," Chen explained, her image projected simultaneously to all participants. "Earth remembers what it means to be vulnerable. We're not creating an empire. We're establishing a partnership of equals." Ambassador Silara of the Nix Collective spoke for many when she responded. "The Confederation ruled through force and fear. You've shown us there's another way, but surely you must know they won't accept this transition peacefully." "We're counting on it," Chen replied, a slight smile playing at her lips. "They've already taken the bait." Deep in Confederation space, Daxon had finally convinced the military council to authorize a major offensive. A massive fleet, comprising most of their remaining loyal forces, assembled for what they hoped would be a decisive strike against Earth's defense network. "Let them come," Chen told her command staff as reports of the Confederation fleet movements reached the Prometheus. Everything is proceeding according to plan. The human defense platforms, impressive as they were, had only been the visible part of Earth's military preparations. Throughout their centuries of isolation, humanity had developed technologies that operated on principles the Confederation couldn't comprehend. As the Confederation fleet approached the outer reaches of the Sol system, they encountered no resistance. Their sensors detected no movement from the defense platforms, no response from the human fleet. "They're retreating," Daxon declared triumphantly. Their supposed power was nothing but an elaborate bluff. But Admiral Chen and her commanders watched calmly as the massive fleet moved deeper into their territory. They weren't retreating. They were waiting. "Quantum barrier status," Chen asked quietly. "Ready on your command, Admiral. Initiate Protocol Omega." Suddenly, the space around the Confederation fleet began to twist and distort. The quantum barrier network, hidden within the fabric of space itself, activated. The entire fleet found itself trapped in a bubble of altered spacetime, their weapons and engines useless against forces they couldn't understand. From quantum space emerged the true extent of Earth's military power, not just ships and defense platforms, but technologies that could reshape reality itself. The Confederation fleet, the mightiest gathering of military power in the galaxy's history, was rendered helpless without a single shot being fired. The message was clear. The old order was over. Humanity hadn't spent 3 centuries preparing for war. They had spent it advancing beyond the very concept of conventional warfare. As news of the Confederation fleet's defeat spread, the last pretense of their authority crumbled. The galaxy was transforming, and at its center stood a humanity that had evolved far beyond what anyone had imagined possible. The old alliances were broken, but from their ruins, something new was emerging, something that would reshape the galaxy forever. The trapped Confederation fleet hung suspended in the quantum barrier, a monument to the folly of underestimating humanity. But Fleet Commander Daxon had one final card to play. Hidden within his flagship was technology stolen from the ancient ruins of the precursor race, weapons that could tear apart the fabric of space itself. Better to destroy everything than submit to human dominance, Daxon declared, his 4 eyes gleaming with desperate resolve. The stolen technology activated, its power signature unlike anything seen in the modern galaxy. Aboard the Prometheus, Admiral Chen's quantum sensors detected the anomaly immediately. "Precursor tech," she said, her voice tight with concern. "They're trying to create a dimensional rift. Similar to the Nexus crisis," Captain Rodriguez asked, her hands flying over the quantum interface. "Worse, they've modified it. This could tear apart half the sector." Chen opened a channel to all Earth forces. "Execute Protocol Ascension. Authorization, Chen Alpha Zero." Across the Sol system, humanity's final technological secrets revealed themselves. The defense platforms, shipyards, and quantum barriers had been impressive, but they were merely the surface of what humanity had achieved during their isolation. Massive structures began emerging from quantum space, not weapons or shields, but devices that could manipulate the fundamental forces of the universe. During the Nexus crisis, humanity had faced extinction from dimensional rifts they couldn't control. They had spent 3 centuries ensuring they would never be helpless again. "By the void," whispered Ambassador Silara, watching from the safety of the Nyx Collective's observation post. "What are they?" The answer came as Daxon's stolen precursor weapon reached critical power. Space itself began to tear, reality fraying at the edges. But instead of panic, the human forces moved with practiced precision. The new structures activated, their quantum field generators creating a complex web of stabilized spacetime. The dimensional rift, instead of expanding catastrophically, found itself contained and controlled. "Impossible," Daxon breathed, watching as his final gambit was effortlessly countered. "How can they control dimensional energy at this level?" Chen's voice echoed through every ship in the Confederation fleet. "We faced the Nexus crisis alone. We watched our cities burn, Our people die, while you observed from orbit. But we didn't just survive. We learned. We mastered the very forces that nearly destroyed us. The human structures began to pulse with energy, their fields not just containing the rift but reshaping it. The stolen precursor technology, powerful as it was, found itself outmatched by human engineering. Throughout the galaxy, every civilization watched through their quantum feeds as humanity demonstrated their true capabilities. This wasn't just advanced technology. This was mastery over the fundamental forces of reality. "We could destroy your fleet," Chen continued, her voice carrying the weight of centuries. "We could let your own weapon tear you apart. But that's not why we developed these technologies. That's not who we chose to become." The quantum fields shifted, and the dimensional rift collapsed in on itself. The dangerous energies safely dissipated. The Confederation fleet remained suspended in the barrier, their most powerful weapon neutralized without a single shot fired. In the aftermath, the remaining Confederation worlds faced a choice. The old power structure was irreparably broken, but humanity wasn't seeking to simply replace it. Instead, Earth offered partnership, sharing their advanced technology with those willing to work toward a more equitable galaxy. "You feared we would seek revenge," Chen told the assembled representatives of various worlds. "You expected us to be the monsters you imagined when you abandoned us centuries ago. But isolation taught us more than just technical advancement. It taught us the value of unity." The storm had broken, but instead of destruction, it brought transformation. The human quantum technology that had contained the dimensional rift was now being adapted to solve other crises across the galaxy. Worlds that had suffered under Confederation rule found themselves uplifted by human innovation. Former Fleet Commander Daxon, now a prisoner aboard the Prometheus, watched in disbelief as his crew eagerly accepted human offers of cooperation. "I don't understand," he admitted to Chen during an interview. "You have the power to dominate the galaxy. Why choose a more difficult path?" Chen's response was simple, because true strength isn't about domination. It's about having the power to destroy and choosing instead to create. As the quantum barriers were lowered and the Confederation fleet was peacefully disbanded, a new era began. Humanity had emerged from isolation, not just as a technological superpower, but as a force for positive change in the galaxy. The storm had passed, and in its wake, the galaxy was transforming. The old order of dominance and fear was being replaced by something new, a coalition of worlds working together, guided by human innovation, but not controlled by it. The universe hadn't been ready for humanity's return, but perhaps that had been the point all along. 1 year after the failed Confederation offensive, the galaxy had transformed beyond recognition. The Great Hall that had once housed the Confederation Council now served as the meeting place for the Galactic Coalition, a new organization built on principles of cooperation rather than control. Admiral Sarah Chen stood before the assembled representatives, her midnight blue uniform now bearing the symbols of both Earth and the Coalition. The chamber had changed too. Gone were the hierarchical arrangements that had placed some species above others. Now all members sat as equals in a circular formation. "The quantum network is now operational in all member systems," Chen reported, gesturing to a holographic display showing the spread of human technology throughout the galaxy. With it comes not just faster communication, but access to clean energy, advanced medical care, and faster-than-light travel for all member worlds. The changes went far beyond just technology. The quantum barriers that had once trapped the Confederation fleet now protected vulnerable worlds from natural disasters. The dimensional control systems developed after the Nexus crisis were being used to heal damaged planets and create sustainable habitats. 3 centuries ago, we faced extinction alone, Chen continued. We could have emerged from our isolation seeking vengeance. Instead, we chose a different path. The power we developed wasn't meant for dominance. It was meant for this moment, this transformation. Ambassador Silara of the Nyx Collective, now a leading voice in the coalition, stood to address the assembly. When humanity first returned, many of us feared they would become the very thing they had once suffered under. Instead, they showed us what true strength looks like. In orbit above Earth, the TDF Prometheus had become a symbol of this new era. Its quantum drives and advanced systems were being studied by scientists from across the galaxy, with human engineers working alongside alien researchers to push the boundaries of what was possible. Captain Rodriguez, now fleet commander of the Coalition's Joint Defense Force, watched as ships from dozens of species trained together in the Sol system. A year ago, these races were either at each other's throats or cowering under Confederation rule. She remarked to Chen during a quiet moment. Now look at them. The former Confederation worlds had undergone the most dramatic changes. With access to human quantum technology, many had solved centuries-old problems of resource scarcity and environmental degradation. The same quantum fields that could contain dimensional rifts could also clean polluted atmospheres and stabilize dying stars. Even former Fleet Commander Daxon had found a new purpose. After witnessing humanity's response to his attempted use of precursor weapons, he had become an advocate for technological cooperation. "I thought power meant the ability to destroy," he told a gathering of former Confederation officers. "They showed us it means having that ability and choosing not to use it." Deep in Earth's quantum research facilities, human scientists worked alongside alien researchers to explore new possibilities. The dimensional understanding gained from the Nexus crisis had opened doors no one had thought possible. They weren't just advancing technology. They were reshaping their understanding of the universe itself. "We're detecting quantum signatures from other dimensions," reported Dr. Maya Wong, head of Earth's Dimensional Research Division. "The barriers between realities are more permeable than we thought, but this time, we're not afraid. We're ready to explore." The Coalition's influence continued to spread, but not through force or coercion. Worlds joined willingly, attracted by the promise of advancement and protection. Human quantum technology had made scarcity obsolete for member worlds, and their defensive capabilities meant smaller civilizations no longer had to fear their neighbors. In the ruins of the precursor sites where Daxon had found his weapons, joint research teams made startling discoveries. The ancient race hadn't been destroyed by their technology. They had transcended it, moving beyond the physical realm entirely. Human quantum science was beginning to understand how. "Perhaps that's our next evolution," Chen mused during a Coalition Council meeting. "Not conquest or control, but transcendence, moving beyond the limitations we thought were fixed." A year after humanity's return had shaken the galaxy, their influence had created something unprecedented. A genuine civilization of equals, bound not by fear but by shared progress. The quantum network connected minds across vast distances, allowing for instantaneous sharing of knowledge and culture. The defense platforms that had once caused such fear now served as navigation beacons and emergency response centers. The shipyards produced vessels for exploration rather than war. Even the quantum barriers had found peaceful applications, protecting worlds from natural disasters and creating safe spaces for dangerous research. As Chen looked out at the transformed galaxy from the Prometheus's observation deck, she reflected on how far they had come. Humanity had spent 3 centuries preparing for their return, developing power that could have dominated the galaxy. Instead, they had chosen to use that power to uplift, to transform, to create. "We are not alone anymore," she told the Coalition Assembly in her closing remarks. "And we will never be alone again. The dawn of this new era belongs not to humanity alone, but to all of us together." The galaxy had feared humanity's wrath. Instead, they had received humanity's wisdom. The power to destroy had been transformed into the power to create, and in that transformation, something new had emerged. A future where strength meant not domination, but the ability to raise others up alongside yourself. A new dawn had truly broken, and its light would illuminate the galaxy for generations to come.